become their predators. This canine tooth was found embedded in the body of its victim. During the Permian, the deadly dance of predator and prey first spread across the land in a drama that continues to this day. In the Karoo, the mammal-like reptiles once ruled supreme. Each new fossil helps Roger Smith build a portrait of their ecosystem.
Well, this is a beast called Rachiocephalus. It was a cow-sized herbivore. It grazed on the Karoo Plains 250 million years ago. It didn't have teeth. It had a tortoise-like beak covered in a horny material, and its lower jaw would grind the foliage back and forth. It's lying here with its head and lower jaw in position. Whether this was actually preyed upon or just died through drought or natural causes, it's difficult to say at this stage. But this disarticulation at the back end, where the pelvic girdles and the legs, the hind quarters have been scattered but not carried off, is very indicative of carnivore action, the scavenging action on the back leg. There's only one candidate for the carnivore at this time, and that's the Gorgonopsian.
Long-legged and saber-toothed, the Gorgonopsian was fast and fierce, the first top predator on land. Roger Smith had not realized how powerful the Gorgonopsian's jaw could be until he came upon some unusual fossils.
We were not sure whether it was capable of crunching bone until we started picking up coprolites, that's now fossil droppings that contained bone. And here's a carnivore coprolite from this area, not far from here, which inside clearly contains large chunks of bone and small broken up fragments. And in and around it, there's this green swirly material that in modern coprolites, modern carnivore scat, would be the skin material of the animal.
Gorgonopsians and their kind preyed on a vast array of herbivores, especially the abundant dicynodonts. These mammal-like reptiles ranged from cat to cow size and occupied habitats from the high plains to the riverbanks. Some species of dicynodonts lived in vast herds. Others took refuge underground. They dug burrows, which were preserved when floodwaters filled them with sediment that later hardened. The burrow's spiral architecture kept air circulating and stabilized temperature within. Here, dicynodonts lived alone or in pairs. Some, like these two, even died here, overcome by floodwaters as they slept. The hundreds of fossils unearthed in the Karoo add up to an intriguing scorecard for the late Permian. Herbivores outnumbered carnivores about 60 to 1. This same ratio still applies to ecosystems today, says Bob Barker, paleontologist at the University of Wyoming Geological Museum.
What makes the late Permian incredibly exciting is this is the first time we have a modern ecosystem. You have a clearly identifiable top predator, the gorgons. The gorgons are the same size, the same power, the same ecological efficiency of a modern-day tiger. And you have big plant eaters too, occupying the roles of antelope and deer and hippopotamuses. And you have predators in the rivers and ponds, and you have small bug eaters and small omnivores. It's a modern world.
Replaced today's mammals with the Permian's reptiles. Picture the fearsome Gorgonopsians stalking their prey. The vast herds of grazing Dicynodonts. And in the rivers, primitive crocodiles, amphibians, and fish. Across the eons, the late Permian reflects a mirror image of the living world we know today, a mature ecosystem in full bloom. But it was doomed. Around 250 million years ago, the flower of the Permian was extinguished in a sea of change that swept across the earth. The course of evolution would be forever altered by the greatest cataclysm in the history of life. $250 million years ago, the earth was a desolate place. Both on land and in the seas, all but a few species had vanished. The Permian Age had become the Permian Extinction. Plate tectonics, or continental drift, may be to blame. Over the course of the Permian Age, the Earth's continents coalesced into one giant landmass called Pangaea. Countless miles of coastal habitat were destroyed. Inland seas vanished. Great forests shriveled into lifeless deserts. Pangaea stretched from pole to pole and may have triggered a series of crippling ice ages. Or perhaps the Permian ended in a blaze of fire. A massive volcanic eruption in Siberia may have spewed out enough carbon dioxide to fuel a deadly greenhouse warming. Even the healthiest ecosystem would be hard hit if several of these cataclysmic events occurred simultaneously. The dazzling creatures of the Permian were resilient and adaptable, but only so far. Whatever the exact causes, with the collapse of the Permian ecosystem, the reign of the mammal-like reptiles was over. But one survivor from this group would go on to extraordinary, if brief, success. Its story remains a favorite of Bob Bakker's.
What happened during the extinction event? Something weird. The Lystrosaurus interlude.